Over the past week, I have been running a little bit of an experiment, and the results have actually really surprised me. The first part, which I wanted to try, which wasn't really an experiment for the audience's perspective, but was an experiment from my perspective, was could I post a video every single day? But to do this, I would have to lower the barrier of creation as much as possible, which I've then actually ended up lifting up anyway. Because if you have to put too much work behind something, right? And I'm still doing that. I'm still doing great bigger projects, interviews, putting together, whatever. But I can't put out an interview every single day because to try and get access to that number of people and to edit that many videos is just physically impossible because it takes longer than a day to do all of that. But can I find a way to put more of my content out there, to put more of myself out there by minimizing how much editing I actually have to do? And in the end, I've kind of undermined that because I've actually started adding editing to my videos. But the first one was, can I just sit and talk to camera for like 20 minutes with no dot points, no script, and say something cohesive? Because that's a great way to train your speaking ability if you can just go off the top and say something meaningful. And I think it worked out pretty well. And then from there, I would start just writing a couple of dot points and being able to ramble off that and say something meaningful and cohesive. And then I'd start getting into the editing, and it used to be just, you've got the 40-minute discussion that maybe you cut down to half an hour because there might be gaps here and there, and then you're done. And then it was like, okay, now if I'm actually talking about stuff that requires a bit of like proof, like I'm not just saying something and you have to believe me, but here's a news article or news title that verifies that what I'm saying is legit, or I want a bit of B-roll to back up what I'm saying, make it a bit interesting, maybe there's a visualizer that helps explain exactly what I am talking about. That has now extended the time to edit, but I've still condensed it as much as possible. Because in the past, what I'm now producing every single day, I was producing like once every 3 weeks, and that's just not enough. Because if you're trying to create a regular relationship with an audience, I need to be there at some sort of regular interval. I don't think you need that thing of like every Tuesday, because very few people live a life where it's that regular. Unless it's maybe like you can wake up every Sunday morning, or if it's a news channel, you can wake up every morning and something's there. That helps. But if it's not quite that regular or that built into a routine, I don't think it matters too much. But the point being, people need to see more of me if I want to get more of my content out there while I can still produce the bigger projects in the background. But if I'm only spending my time producing these big and rare projects, it's not enough to really build any sort of connection with people viewing the content. And hence why I wanted to start producing this every single weekday. But the part that I've really been experimenting with is the title and thumbnails, particularly the thumbnail. Because usually for a lot of content, the thumbnail is as flashy as possible. It's like, how many elements can we get in there? Can it be bright? Can it be colorful? Can it be all these things? And it's like, what if I just literally have myself in frame and nothing else? Just me in this exact context. Maybe I turn up the saturation just a tad, make it a little bit more contrasty, and that's it. Because everything else is trying to grab your attention. And I'd find with a lot of videos, or I'm completely assuming that there'd be a missed expectation there, that they come in thinking it's one thing because you have this fancy thumbnail, and then the first image they cut to is me chilling behind a desk, and they're like, oh, I wasn't really expecting that. But if people see in the thumbnail that it is just me chilling behind a desk or wherever it may be at the time, that expectation remains and they know exactly what they're getting into. And it's also indicative that it's not going to be this ultra high-paced video with a million different VFX, that rather it is me chatting, having conversation. Because I would see other creators as well that would just be able to like sit in a car and chat for 45 minutes. And it would be extremely engaging. And they'd be able to just like banter back and forth themselves and come up with amazing storylines telling these stories about their lives or educating their audience about a specific subject. They didn't need fancy graphics. They didn't need VFX. And in a lot of ways, that builds a much bigger connection than, once again, hiding behind all of that. Not that that's a bad thing. It can provide a significant amount of value. But while I'm not in a position to spend that time or have the skills for that level of production value, there's no point trying. That's something I can maybe do later on, experiment with that. But in the meantime, can I just build an authentic, or as authentic as it can be, connection with the audience right now, sitting in an extremely natural environment, speaking in a much more natural way? And hence, could the thumbnail actually reflect that as well? Text message. Oh, lovely. Mr. Trying to Travel the World. Now you have to guess which of the 3 Germans was I talking about. Even yesterday, I was chatting with my friend and colleague Val, because we often go back and forth about what's working, what's not working, how's the industry going. And I sent him links to 2 different channels by 2 other Australians. Coincidentally, not intentional, they are, because we are superior, JK. Can't say that out too loud living in London anymore. But the point being, one of them, he's a political commentator. And his videos are literally the blandest, most boring thumbnail possible. It's completely organic. It is just him sitting by himself. Maybe he's got a couple little words that are hard to read, and that's it. But it works. And the other one is another Australian who she normally does other stuff, but this time she was doing more finance-related content about the world. And the thumbnails come across as maybe a bit more aggressive, maybe a bit more as like American finance bro type thing, but then you go in and it's very natural, it's very normal. It's kind of like the way I'm speaking right now. But both of these work. And you kind of got to discount the fact that Sorel's views are a lot higher than the other guys, because Sorel's been doing it for a lot longer. She came in with a bigger baked-in audience. But the point being, they're kind of talking about the same genre-ish of things in the same sort of way, but their packaging is extremely different. And yet it both works. So hence when people say this is a way to do something, it's just wrong. And hence why I'm experimenting a bit, seeing if this simpler formats can work. Because it makes it easier because I'm able to put out more videos. It makes it better for the audience because more videos are being put out. And I wonder whether that creates a separation because there are so many people doing it in the style of Sorel. Sorel kind of came in from a different angle though about the sort of topic she was talking about from the perspective she was talking from. But largely, if I'm going to be put in the bucket of crypto bro, which I absolutely do not want to be, that's not a fight I can win. So can I completely pull myself out of that and create a thumbnail style that you don't usually expect, that is much like the Aussie dude, but a bit more polished than that. But that same essence of it's just me having a chat. And at some point an audience trusts that it doesn't matter what you're chatting about, it is going to be something interesting. It's like Tom Scott. I don't know what he's talking about this video, but I know it's going to be something that I'm going to learn something from that I'm going to find fascinating. Like most creators, even most news creators. It's like, I don't know what the topic of the video is, I don't really care. But I know once again, it's going to be something important, something I should care about, and something that might impact me down the line, so I should probably listen into it. And that's the sort of relationship that you have to build. It doesn't matter what the title is, doesn't matter what the thumbnail is, but people keep returning nonetheless because they know you've delivered value last time and you're going to deliver it again. It doesn't mean that I won't have little fancy stuff behind a thumbnail here and there, but I'm going to keep trying to make it as simple as possible and keep an authentic tone to it. Once again, I'm saying that now, next week, I could completely change everything again. Who knows? But that's why you got to keep paying attention and see where I lead this, because it's all a changing game. If it turns out audiences like a bit more, not drama, because I don't want to get into that, but a bit more flair to it, then I'll put a bit more flair to it. If they really like the stripped down, which it seems like they are. Like some of the videos are still stuck at the low era, and some of them have actually popped off quite a lot, even though it's just me sitting there with kind of a vague title. So that's a good sign that people are enjoying that really stripped back, simplified thumbnail. So I'll keep doing that. I'll probably A/B test. That's what's so good now about YouTube implementing A/B testing. Is I can do a bit of both. I can do a little bit of stylized, natural, and then see what people want to click on most. To be fair, A/B testing doesn't let you see what people click on. It sees how much people watch the video after the fact, which to be fair is more relevant because it doesn't matter if people click it if they leave straight away. So yeah, you do actually want engaged viewership, which thumbnail leads to the most engaged viewership. But yes, it'll be interesting to see the outcome of that, and I'm sure I'll come back with another video discussing the results of such. Spotify now also, I realized, just instituted thumbnails, which I don't really know what to think about that, because when do you really look at thumbnails for Spotify podcasts? It's always just like the album cover and then the title and description, but maybe it will be irrelevant. You never know. Maybe it's just future-proofing it for later down the line. Another big reason I kind of push towards this solution is because I remember people saying, like, I miss your videos because I don't even know they're yours. And if you have a completely different packaging style for each video, it becomes hard for people to recognize, oh, that's one of Parker's videos, I should go and click it, I should go and see it. Or if you have some sort of recognizability, whether it be a similar sort of color, a similar font, a similar style, or just the same face, that becomes much easier to create returning viewers because they know, oh, it's another from this person. I'm probably going to like it because I like the last one, rather than you just being put in the bucket of everyone else. But it also has to keep a balance because you will be put in the bucket of everyone else if you want to bring a new audience. So you do have to have some pull to people who have no idea who you are. And that can be tough, but the ones who can manage that balance way outperform everything else. And technically you can also like differentiate it because the first sort of audience that will see it will be your own audience. So then you can focus on returning viewers and then you can stretch out to new viewers because the longer tail of it will go to people who don't know who you are. But that gets complicated and messy and really is better if you have a whole team behind you, which obviously I don't. It's me doing everything by myself. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep experimenting with this style, keep trying things. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the description, what you've thought of this new style, me posting more often with this new style of packaging. And I'll see you in the next one. Ooh.